The meeting room is muted, folks. We're not able to hear you.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
The microphone is, you can hear me now?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the meeting. We'll call it to order. Minutes from the special meeting of April 23rd with the building committee and the library board of trustees.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. We had a couple corrections to note under voting committee members present. Ava Biffer is not a voting member, should not be listed in that group. Voting committee members absent, Leah Farrell's listed in that group. She's not a voting member. And then under also attending, next to the last is Linda Pagani, and she's listed as chair of the Friends of the Library. And she's not the chair. Penny Pearson is the chair. So I assume Melinda is a member of the Friends. So there's that correction. Any other corrections? All right, Mr. Ike, Mr. Berman, you okay with those corrections?
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor of approving these minutes as noted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Lois abstains. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have minutes also from April 23rd of the Library Building Committee.
So moved.
Moved for approval by Mr. Ike, second by Mr. Berman. And same corrections to members, voting members present and absent. I had one more on page 2, right at the top of page 2. The sentence reads, 2 options of lettering 4 inches and 5 inches to hang in the 2-story space and be the thickness of Mr. Suggs' favorite book.
Where is that?
It's on the top of my page 2.
I think you're looking at these.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Never mind, never mind. We'll, yeah, I did forget about that. We're back to our library building committee meeting. I apologize for that.
Yeah, top of page.
Okay, I had no other corrections. Anybody have corrections to the building committee minutes? All right, all in favor of approving them, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Lois abstains. Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to new business. And we've got Anthony in person, Johnny online from Downs. It's all yours, Anthony.
Righty. Let me share my screen. Same operating procedure as usual. We'll go through the general items. Interior column enclosure mock-up at column line 4 with the glue limb trim panels has been reviewed and approved. This was a major hurdle. Diligent work with TSKP to review the field condition that was created and the detail requirements with the frameless glass system. So thankfully we're in the rear view there and we're proceeding forward. Additional conduit installation is in progress for the required phone lines from Frontier. We should have hopefully active phone lines next Tuesday. All right. Van Zelm also continues to review the MEP systems. They were on site twice this week, one doing a review and witnessing the rooftop unit startups today. We have air conditioning within the space that is blowing through ductwork, which is fantastic. That's a huge win for us, a huge milestone. Now we can start really fine tuning the conditioning of the space now that we have all those interior finishes in and provided. Going down the list, site work contractor has started the final grading at the south entrance. We're working to clear that up with some miscellaneous equipment and material from subcontractors. Now that it's cleaned up, you'll really start to see Manafort take shape of that south side area down below. We have poured Sidewalks have been poured at the Prosser site. We are finishing up the Riley site as we speak. Those got kind of held up beginning of the week with the monsoon rain that we had for basically 5 days. So we're on it. They're working on it. They should have that all completed by the end of the week. We have our site work prepped and final graded for the installation of the plaza entrance slab along with the forming of the plaza steps. They have demoed the plaza steps that weren't up to par, that had quality control issues. So we are correcting that, and we are in the process of having Manafort take care of that work. Topsoil, as you can see, is being spread and installed on the north elevation on the Prosser site, as well as around the back side of the Riley lot. Cast stone and face brick is all pretty much wrapped up and completed, with a couple infill patches that we need to do once that aluminum trellis goes up at the up above in that main lobby area. We left some brick out so we can make the proper structural attachments to the building steel. Face brick is all completed within the interior of the main library. This includes all the social coursing, has been cleaned up. The stonework is continuing at the plaza retaining wall. Connecticut Mason has done a hell of a job for us on there. It looks absolutely stunning. They have been working underneath the tarp system to keep the rain from, hindering their work and progress, but that should be all completed by the end of this week. The porch guardrail system on the second level has been installed. The iPay decking has been installed on the porch. We have a couple more pieces to go to take us to the end, but significant progress was made there. The floor mitigation and the finished flooring have been installed on the second level. Floor protection is continuing to be applied and reviewed for deteriorating conditions on the second level. We do have our flooring subcontractor moving down to the main level this Friday. Elevator cab is complete. Finished flooring we need to complete within the elevator cab, as well as any finished flooring within the lobby areas. But right now, we're hoping to get Otis back out there on Tuesday and a potential elevator inspection. Fire protection continued with minor adjustments as we continue to close out ceilings and install ceiling grid. Fin tube radiant heat has been installed at all levels. Radiant ceiling panels, again, have been installed at all levels. Ductwork final tie-ins are being completed with the installation of diffusers within those ceiling grids and those final ceilings, as well as that linear diffuser that's going on the 4-line within the main library space. Exterior grade installation at the mechanical area is completed. The RTUs, like I mentioned before, have been started up today. That startup has been complete, which is great. The boilers and hot water tank, that's all completed and has been started up. HVAC controls and final tie-ins are continuing with the BMS systems. We're about 95% complete with programming being complete as the data and phone lines are up and running. Electrical light fixtures and devices are continuing throughout the space within ceiling grid and ceiling tiles as well as walls. Same goes with fire alarm, and the communication systems are ongoing. Programming is to start shortly on that once we get the phone lines in next week. Millwork deliveries are continuing for the main level. We have started the installation of upper and lower cabinets throughout the main space where we can. Custom wood ceilings have been installed at the second level in high bay areas. That has all been completed now that we have all the glue lamb trim panels up, and all the structural supports that were required to hold those pieces have been installed and completed. Those were third-party engineered. There was no safety concerns or any structural issues hanging a 34-foot long, 1,000-pound piece of glue lamb trim panel. Aluminum at the upper level, windows in the north, south, east, west elevations has all been installed. Glass installations is pretty much complete at all of these elevations. Aluminum interior glass walls and doors have been installed on the second level. Stanley automatic doors have been installed. Glasses to install Friday. Acoustical ceiling grid and tiles again are installed on the second floor with main level, and additional hanger requirements that was requested by the building official has also been completed. So we are able to get above ceiling inspections done on the main level, and the ceiling is padded out. Acoustical cloud ceilings have been installed in the children's area, as well as working on padding out the acoustical grid in the garage level. Now that all the tile cuts are in for the devices, light fixtures, et cetera. that takes us, for Prosser. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for Anthony and Prosser? Patrick? Absolutely.
Thank you, Anthony. Really good report as usual. Two quick things. So, I noticed the demo of the steps and saw that that's out of there, but I was wondering what penalty is acronym, is it?
Mhm.
What's going to happen?
They will be financially responsible
will?
for that repair work
Okay.
in 100%.
Okay, so how does that work? Does it come off of what
It will,
we pay to
it
them?
will- it will come off what you guys pay to me,
Yeah,
what I have in my bank account.
okay,
That does not go back to them.
Okay.
Because I need to take that money and pay Manafort for
right,
its
from pay manifold.
deficiency,
Yeah,
let's call it.
okay, so we already know what the cost of those.
Correct,
steps.
and it's all tracked on
Itemized.
time and material, so there's no, price gouging. It's,
Yep.
it's a fair price. We track the time, the hours, the material, the equipment, and the labor for it.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you for that. The other question is the shelf that's out, or the counter that's on the porch.
Mhm.
There were some concerns about how that was, what was going to be on there.
I believe that was one items that we reviewed with TSKP. Jeff was, a great help to us the other day. He was on site for a good half a day,
Okay,
working out some of these minor issues, some major issues, for details to make sure we get everybody on the same page and correct. But we are gonna proceed right now per the base contract. If they want to require any supplemental steel, it will be on there.
okay.
But right now, with the design team and talking to Jeff and everybody, we feel comfortable with the way it's laid out should be suffice.
Okay.
What shelf is this?
This is the countertop on the
On the
porch,
porch,
the iPay.
Jeff.
Oh, yeah, because remember Taisu was there too, and we have
Yep.
some things that we somewhat resolved as far as the spacing, where the splice joints are and the attachment concealed from underneath. There's one loose end. Taisu seems to be wanting it to be a single piece somehow in look. But we were told, and it's probably true, that you can't get ePay that wide. So we're looking at possible splice or a dado, a rabbet joint, so the two pieces can come together. So that's in further discussions. There's still things that I'm gonna have to issue to Anthony so we can get on the same page with the sub.
Well, I think, just to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
The concern was some tradesperson questioned the structural stability of that
Right.
counter.
Oh, no, that's definitely
and-
rigid.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was the issue. Now, all the details you're talking about is business as usual, just laying
Correct.
out the
Yeah,
wood
business
and
as- yeah.
detailing and all that. But, yes, okay, thank you.
That was it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
that was it, Anthony. Thank you.
All right, good clarification, Mark.
Yeah.
Other questions for Anthony Clark?
In the middle of page 2, I didn't understand the remark, exterior grade installation work is completed. And you mentioned something about RTU. I didn't understand.
Yeah, that is all the ductwork insulation on the exterior of the building that gets a special exterior grade duct wrap insulation. That has been completed.
And on the next page, just why did the building official want additional hangers for the ceiling?
He wanted additional hangers for the diffusers. He came in, this was a couple weeks ago, requiring us to hang the diffusers due to the load that it would enforce on the ceiling grid itself. So in order for us to pass above ceiling inspections, he required us to tie the diffusers up to the structural portion of the building to keep it, rather than the grid holding it.
Okay. thank you.
Yep.
Apparently, he has invoked a code that is yet to be upon us,
Thank you.
but we did not argue the fact.
We're thankful to be on the cutting edge of
Right.
technology.
Well, of what's safe.
Building codes.
Absolutely. Front runners.
Lois?
So are we ready for the solar as soon as the solar is ready for us?
When we get the C of O, we'll be ready for the solar. But all the provisions are in place for it. We do have empty conduit to the roof,
And it's now in the town's hands?
correct?
Thank you.
Other questions for Anthony on Prosser? Anybody out there? I can't see hands, so if you have a question, just.
No hands.
No hands. Okay.
All right, moving on to the Riley lot. Electrical conduit has been completed under the bridge. Final site work prep ongoing. Installation of the swales and gratings are completed. Topsoil is being installed. The concrete stairs at the bottom of the bridge have been installed and accepted, barring some minor corrective actions that we have documented. The concrete flat work installations will be finishing by the end of this week. We got a little delayed because of the rain, like I said before. And the bridge pavers and snow melt system to start on the installation of the bridge the end of this week. Do you have any questions on the Riley lot?
Yes, Patrick.
Thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to know, with all this rain, have you noticed how high Washbrook is at this point?
It got up pretty high. It hasn't breached anything yet, but it got up
Uh-huh.
pretty high. Probably the highest I've seen it since I've actually been on this project for the last
Uh-huh.
18 months per se.
Okay, but nothing is breached.
Nothing.
Okay.
This-
My,
The swale that Manafort has installed on the Riley lot underneath
Mhm.
the bridge going down filled up with water like it was supposed to do. So
that's good.
Patrick, this is
Yes, sir.
Scott.
Yes, Scott.
You know, I think some of that concerns with the flooding, and DPW can correct me, but may have also been from existing drainage where somehow it was getting into it and come bubbling up into the parking lot too. I think that was also part of it. Never mind if it flooded its banks. So, I mean, with your new design, should be okay.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
And with what you did with Riley to have water go
Yeah.
to the very back
into the swale.
into the swale. Yeah,
Swale
yeah.
through. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and
that's
now
good.
you have a garage. Now you have a garage on the first floor, so if water gets in there, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I know. I was
We,
just.
knock on wood, we don't
No,
want
we
any of
don't
that.
want it, but.
No,
yeah.
we don't.
But
But-
understood, we have a garage, but we have the friends there too, so. Okay, last question.
No, the Friends are
It's elevated.
above the level of the
blood-
garage.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
elevated,
So is
yeah.
the
Yeah, you walk up
elevator and
three.
so is the
That's right,
entrance.
you walk
Yeah,
up
the
three.
only thing
You're right.
are the
you're right.
parking spaces
I take it back. I take
at
it
the
back.
lowest level.
Yeah, okay.
Those parking spaces are higher than they used to be too.
Correct.
Okay, so then the last thing, Anthony, is, I mean, I noticed the growth, along the banks of the water, and it's all that, garbagey stuff, that
Yep.
ugly weeds. I mean, is there any progress?
We do right now, we do have a PR that TSKP and Richter Segan put together for us to mechanically remove that. I have a price from Manafort. I just need a credit price coming in from EDI, and that's one of those items you'll see here on my budgeted PCO list that we want to get in and for approval probably in the next committee meeting when I solidify a credit coming back from EDI. But in the meantime, Manafort is making provisions to take care of that work and now wait for that to happen.
The contractors owe us clearing and grubbing to some extent along the brook. So that'll be contrasted with, complete mechanical removal of what's there. Other questions?
Correct.
Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. Just one question, Anthony. I presume the trailer is out or is coming out from Riley?
Sad to see it go, but it's out of there on Friday.
Okay, and then they're gonna be putting the final layer of paving down.
Yep, probably sometime by the end of May. Yep.
Okay. Going to make it interesting for owners' meetings going forward.
Oh, we'll get the nice plastic chairs and the fold-out tables ready to go. Hey, we'll have it.
We'll let everybody know where the meeting is and,
Yep.
and maybe you too, Bob, will let you know. So,
Yeah, thank you.
okay.
Oh, I heard
Lois?
about that.
Thank you. In driving by the other day, I saw that they were again digging in the street. Now, can you tell me what that was about? Was that another unexpected event?
Nope, that's a final sewer tie-in. That's it. Simple.
Sounds good.
Yep. They made quick work of that. They're out now and we're putting some sidewalk down.
Other questions for Anthony? Anybody out there? Okay, good. Onward.
Onward. Part B, requisitions and PCOs. We are looking for approval tonight on our April 2025 requisition in the amount of $1,286,921.35.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Patrick. Thank you. Questions? All right, all in favor of the motion of approving application number 22 in the amount of $1,286,921.35. Please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
All right, next, I'm looking for approval of our GMP CO number 14, our PCCO number 14, which was based off of approved PCOs from the last committee meeting in the amount of $4,539.
So moved.
All right, moved by Mr.
Second.
Ike, seconded by Mr.
Jesse.
White. Thank you very much. I saw you come in there, Jesse. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so this consists of previously approved PCO 71 and 88. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving PCCO number 14 in the total amount of $4,539, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. You?
All right, just want to give a quick contingency update. I just want to put the caveat out there that this does not include our contract allowances with our subcontractors or our GMP allowances, like we discussed at the last committee meeting. It's strictly a contingency update. The owner's contingency has gone up. We are at $352,691, and our CM contingency is $337,781. All right. Going down to the budgeted and pending PCOs, we still talk about the DOT paving requirements. That's coming up. I have Manafort looking into this with their DOT inspector currently to get this on the radar and see where we stand with that required work based on the DOT requirements. PCO 89 was all that structural engineering that we had for the clip design that got welded back to the building structure to support that glulam trim panel. Anything above 17 feet, we required a special engineer. The standard anchors that Desco provided that thought would work didn't. So we did have a cost to get it engineered to structurally support. I have a budget number right now of $39,000 for that. That's a lot of structural work and welding that had to get done quickly in order to get these glue limbs up so we could finish the ceilings, the custom plywood ceilings, that is. PCO 93, which was the Washbrook native vegetated buffer plantings, I have a budget of $5,000, $5,255 in there. I am still waiting a credit back from EDI on that to see where we stand. Again, all these will get vetted through myself, my team, as well as the design team before they make it to the committee level. PCO 94, which is to reintroduce the paver banding at the plaza slab. I do have an actual cost from Connecticut Mason here to put the paver banding back into the project that was VE'd out at the beginning of the project. We feel that it would, again, it could be a nice enhancement for that plaza entrance area. So we do have an actual cost there. We do have a paver picked out. Again, this will all be reviewed and vetted with TSKP. PCO 95, it's column line 5 acoustical wall panel modifications. We went from painted to fabric. We had a dimensional issue with some brick in the steel. But right now I have almost a $2,800 budget for that change. I am still waiting on a few credits to come in, so this could potentially go back to zero or being a credit coming back. But again, I want to be as transparent as possible, as conservative as possible, for everybody and so they can understand what we're looking at. PCO 96, again, this is an added acoustical wall panel at elevation 4 on drawing A804. This was a TSKP directive. I have an actual cost of $3,739 for that. Again, that will be vetted and submitted to TSKP for their review as well. And then we have PCO 97, which is to modify the acoustical wall panels on the second floor from 1 1/8 to 2 1/8 inches in thickness. I do have an actual cost of $2,400 for that as well. So that kind of takes us through our, what we have budget and pending PCOs. And I just want to let you know that everything that's in the budget and pending, as well as the official line item before, give us what I talked about up above, which was our contingencies that remain. Okay. All right, moving on to the official PCOs that I'm looking for committee approval tonight. The first one is PCO 47, which we've talked about for quite some time, which is the steel work to move the horizontal tubes on the 4 line up 2 inches, as well as make some modifications for the Stanley door due to a field condition. We're looking for approval on $11,299.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Berman, seconded by Mr. Ike. Questions on PCO 47, Lois?
Excuse me, Anthony, could you just remind me, please? When I read the description, it sounded as if the slab was built at a level that was different.
No, because we have our floor flatness tests for tri-state. It's usually one of those.
Explain to me what
Yes.
happened.
So what happened there was we had to raise the horizontal tube steel up. One drawing had it at 7'5", one drawing had it 7'7", as well as conflict with the height of the Stanley door. We did run our checks and balances. The reason why we do have tri-state out there is to make sure the elevations and floor flatnesses are within tolerances, which they were. So this was for our steel guy to come in and move those tube steel items up for that whole entire 4 line on T&M.
So my question is, whose problem is that?
It's a field condition that was created, really. You could say Stanley doors, you could say, it's just a little bit of everybody, I feel. But it was a field condition created where we needed to move up the tube steel 2 inches on some conflicting documentation, as well as what Stanley door required for that area. We wanted to originally maybe just move up 1 tube steel that was in conflict with the Stanley door. But we wanted to keep that light sight line for TSKP wanted through the whole length. So we decided to move the tube up 2 inches and push the Stanley door back.
I understand that it needed to be corrected.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the obligation is of the people who made the decisions compared to.
I don't know. Jeff, any luck there?
Well, that's typically why we have these construction owners contingencies is for things like this. So I think things like this do happen, whether it's coordination or the slab slightly off or a combination of drawings and structural. So things like this do occasionally happen. So that's why we have a contingency.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, all in favor of PCO number 47 in the amount of $11,299, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
All righty. Moving on, PCO 57, this was the west line, a modified at steel for masonry, cast stone, and brick. There was a lot of gray area of who to blame here, whether it would be the concrete, whether it be the steel, the mason, and so on and so forth. But I am looking for approval on PCO 57 in the amount of $0. Again, this to be applied to RCM contingency. As you know, it was tough to point exact finger like we did on the north side. That was a subcontractor on the concrete side of things that screwed up. So we were able to do that at a back charge. But because this is a kind of a gray area, we decided to apply it to our CM contingency.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving PCO number 57 in the net amount of $0, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. Next.
PCO 77 was some hollow frames that were missed for the overhead door. We were trying to figure out what scope of work this went in. We couldn't find it. But we had to introduce a hollow metal door for an overhead door based on the assembly. Right now, we are applying this cost to RCM contingency in the net amount of $0 to the project.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. And where is this overhead door?
This is by the cafe area over on that side.
So closing off the
Correct.
side of the building for
Yep.
nighttime use.
Correct.
Questions?
One frame?
It was a pretty, yeah, it was a large frame.
One
Yep, two
frame.
pieces. 2 pieces and a knockdown. Oh, that was a typo.
Other questions? Mr. Berman.
Just a comment that this hadn't been overlooked, this price would have been in there to begin with.
Correct.
Yeah, it's an addition to the job needed.
Yep. I mean, usually what happens is the overhead doors, most of the time come with a frame to set in, but because of this condition and the way it was designed, it was a hollow metal frame where this overhead door actually sat into. It was neither picked up from our hollow metal frame door supplier because they're looking at doors, frames, and hardware for the actual doors. So I think it was just best served to apply it to our CM contingency.
Other questions? All in favor of approving PCO number 77 in the net amount of 0, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Next.
All right, PCO 79. This is the automatic door operators at 114B and toilet room 206. We do have finalized pricing from all our subcontractors in. A total cost for those 2 areas to get the auto door operators with rework of finishes, modifications to finishes, modifications to doors, frames, etc., in the amount of $36,769.
So moved.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Berman, seconded by Mr. Ike. Thank you. Questions? Lois?
I found that number very high. Are you comfortable with all of the pieces in it?
Absolutely. A lot of it has to do too with the bathroom where we have all our finishes done, drywall in, frames in, taped in, painted. We have to cut the wall in. We have to get electrical in the wall. That's just for that door. Never mind the $8,000 for the Stanley operator for the door 114B on top of the modifications to the frame and the repair to the bondoing of the aluminum to get to the correct finish. So yeah, it's pretty intense work. It is costly work at this point in time. But yes, those are hard numbers from our subcontractors.
I asked Anthony to look at what there's 2 doors here involved. One is the interior door to the community room. And the other is one of the toilet rooms on the 2nd floor. Just what the 2 are, when you break this down into the 2 doors, what the costs are for each.
It's almost split in half, and the reason for that is the Stanley operator for the aluminum is half the cost of the $16,000. And then if you look at door 206B, we already have finishes in place. We have tile on the walls, we have paint, we have a frame, we have a door. We have to cut in for electrical. There's some finish work there. So, you're looking at a pretty, split cost based on, the differences in scope of work for each one of those.
So this all came about, questioning whether or not we have automatic operators to assist in certain places, and it turned out we did have it at the entrances, public entrances, and at the public toilets on the 1st floor outside of the community room. So these were 2 places that were asked in addition to those.
Correct. We do have those on the 1st floor, family bathroom.
Right. They are not required. I see them strictly as an added convenience. I don't think we have any community room-like spaces in town that have an interior automatic assist door to it. Community center doesn't have it. I'm sure the schools don't have it for any of the large spaces. Again, I think it's kind of it's a nice thing, but it's not required. Personally, I am against spending this money on these two doors, but that's
very
me.
much in favor of it, and I'm just sorry that the number is so high.
Other questions, comments? Clark?
Work been done?
Not yet.
Wait for our approval.
Yeah, but to jump the, the lead times on getting the stuff, release of material to get it moved forward.
Repeat again. 114B, the operator was 8,000.
Yeah, the Stanley door. The operator comes from Stanley, and the price on that invoice was $8,000 alone just for that.
And the operator on the other door?
It's a different product. It's a little bit cheaper. I think that was like $7,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you said 16.
Well, 16,000 is, you gotta add the labor to install it, right? You gotta fix the door, you gotta bond the door, you have to finish the door to the right color. So there's some work involved on the aluminum.
You have to bring power to both locations.
The power, I think, was facilitated for the aluminum door, but again, you still have to power through the frame, get it, pull the wire up into the frame and into the operator.
Roughly 15,000, 36,000.
We have a hand up. Ava?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Could everybody please be careful to use the microphones? We can hear Anthony, but we can't hear most of the rest of the conversation.
Okay,
Thank-
we will try and stay close to the microphones.
Thanks.
Other questions? Okay, all in favor of PCO number 79 in the amount of $36,769, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Chair votes nay.
I'm a nay.
I'm a nay. This is Robert Ike. I'm a nay too.
Okay. And anybody abstaining? So I believe we are 4 in favor and 3 opposed. So the motion passes. Okay.
All righty, moving on. Thank you. Sprinkler lines modifications for incorrect field directive. This is, I'm gonna let you know that we screwed up on this one. But we had to do some repair work, some sprinkler lines. We're applying it to RCM contingency. There was some steel involved. This is a long time ago. We were just rectifying it now, but we're looking to take care of that under RCM contingency for a net zero cost to the project.
So moved.
All right, move for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor of PCO number 86 in the net amount of 0, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
Aye.
All righty, PCO 87, this is our winter conditions allotment number 2 for all the work the Mason did on the exterior of the building through all our winter months to get us to the point where we are at today. Conventional scaffolding set up, heat, tents, everything, blankets, as well as some other conditional items. This is going to be applied to our winter conditions allowance established in our GMP. We do have a remaining allowance balance left for winter conditions after the fact, if this proceeds and passes. But we're looking for approval for a net cost of $0 to the project to handle the winter conditions to get our masonry work complete.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, second by Mr. Berman. Questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of PCO number 87 in the net amount of 0, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
All right, PCO 90. This was a TSKP directive to add a layer of sheetrock into stairwell 2 to the shaft wall. the way the condition and the site was, the shaft wall assembly and installation because of the type of installation method it is. Wasn't really up to, I would think, our visual aesthetics of the building itself, even though that is in the back of house, let's call it in stair two. So this cost was to add a layer of sheetrock to the stairwell two, onto the shaft wall to install it and to tape it. So we have a cost of $3,203. We're looking for approval on that.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Ike, seconded by Jesse.
Jesse.
Thank you. Questions? Clark? Bring the microphone to your face. Thank you.
Sorry, what was the reason for redoing the sheetrock? I just,
Yeah, it wasn't a redo, it was an added layer. The way that the shaft wall goes in, you could see all the stud framing and the sheetrock. In order to bury that visually and aesthetically, we added another layer of gypsum board to that. Jeff, I'm gonna kind of look to your
Yeah.
expertise on this.
Yeah, Clark, so we had shown, and Downs did correctly place it. A shaft walls basically has some exposed flanges of metal studs to get us the 2-hour rating into that stair two. We also called for it to be painted. So when I was looking at that, I saw the way it hit the floor, and I saw the way it hit the adjacent sheetrock and CMU walls. I couldn't imagine just painting all that and expecting that the town would think that that was appropriate, even though it's the back of house stairwell too, it's an egress stair, but still, if anybody's in there, they should still sense that it's actually done right and correct and thorough and finished. So I took the liberty of thinking that in terms of the base, in terms of the way it met the flooring, in terms of it made the walls, that it would just be better for maintenance, for aesthetics, and it completes that space. And it was it was just a way to just touch that wall that was left sort of unfinished. And I know that I think it was all approved and we all drove that way to save money, but I think it just wasn't looking to my expectations, so we added it. And
So
that
was
came
it-
from a question Downs had regarding, if we really wanted to just paint that. And I started looking at the floor, how it connected to the adjacent walls, and I thought, yeah, it's probably not best to leave that and just paint it. So we put a finish on it.
thanks, I just wanted to know that it wasn't workmanship on the part of the subcontractor.
No,
No. We
This
also
is
verified
systems,
this
at
on,
least.
on T&M, right? We didn't have them go lump sum costs. We verified the time. and
Yeah,
material.
sometimes these systems, they claim that they can be painted and look good, but in my experiences, very few do look good. So I just thought it was best since we're in there, we're doing it. Let's just do it right.
Yeah, that system is typically used where no one sees it, at the interior of an elevator shaft,
Right.
for instance, hence shaft wall. But, okay, other questions? All right, all in favor of PCO number 90 for $3,203, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. One more.
One more, PCO 92. This is probably gonna take us to the end of our temporary enclosure and safety now that we're coming to the end of the job here. But this is our GMP allowance, net cost of zero to the job.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Berman, second by Mr. Ike. Questions? There's still further allowance money?
There is.
That-
Yes.
Other questions? All right, all in favor of PCO number 92 in the net amount of zero, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right.
All
Anthony,
right,
favorite
we could all
part?
breathe now. We're past the heavy lifting here. Let's look at some pictures. All right, sorry, I don't have my mouse today. I forgot it, but this is the 3-inch glue lamp trim panels on the back wall. The longer ones have been installed on the designed clip system. We had to get that glue and lamp trim in to finish this last bay of wood ceiling panels. If you go up to the job site now, all that is done. Ceiling panels are in and it's closed off. We have flooring, carpet going down, or that is actually down. Going down the list here, here's a view from the first floor looking to the north. As you can see, the light fixtures are in, the wood beams, the panels. You could see there the glue lamp trim right above those linear diffusers on the 4 line that we got installed with the structural clips that were needed there along that whole line. That was that big milestone that we hit working with TSKP to make sure we hammer out the correct details in this location, which we passed. Outside, you have the window metal progress on the west elevation at the bump outs. You could see all the fascias and soffit and the roof components are done as we started the brake metal going up the jam side, as well as the fins going up as well on that west
Yeah,
elevation.
those windows we're looking at there will receive the vertical sun shades like the east side will, right?
Little different look, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff.
Very similar. They just are
Very
attached
similar.
as an extrusion to the curtain wall system. Whereas the east, they are part of a exoskeleton system, but they're doing the same thing.
Beautiful. All right, let's keep swimming. We have here the insulation, like I said before, on the mechanical room. Outdoor mechanical room has been installed and cleaned up. Rooftop units are up and running. You can see the progress of the ceiling here at the monumental stair looking down that east elevation. Those are the bigger, larger acoustical panels and the grid ceiling that's going in. Here you have the children's area, you have the cloud ceilings, like we talked about, the islands going up and in. This picture doesn't do it justice. You go out there, it looks absolutely stunning to see the contrast of the dark blue as well as the white cloud system. Fireplace on a lower level. And like I talked about before, we have the concrete stairs in, flat work and sidewalks being poured on the Riley lot. And this is the soil, topsoil being installed at the north side of the property. That kind of takes us to that. Anybody have any questions on?
No questions for Anthony. Lois?
Anthony, is the fireplace's gas flame?
No,
Is
electric.
it electric? Good.
Patrick?
Thank you, Chair. Anthony, I just wanted to know the POs that we approved that had amounts to them, are they already considered in the contingency?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions for Anthony before we let him go?
Yep, this is Jesse. I was just wondering, is the fireplace like operational or is it just aesthetic or?
I believe the type of fireplace, it was quite expensive. But it is electric fireplace, Jesse. It does produce some heat. It's not like a wood stove type of thing going on, but yes, you'll be able to sit by it and hopefully feel a little warmth coming out.
That's the plan. I appreciate it.
Right on, we'll have a coffee.
Awesome.
Anything else for Anthony? Okay, Anthony, Scott, Johnny, thank you very much. Next, we've got Glenn.
Glenn was unable to.
Oh, Glenn's not with us.
make it,
Glenn,
but he
we've got
has-
too many other town meetings, right?
He asked me to present a couple things for him.
Okay, very good.
Okay, the first thing that Glenn asked that I bring up for him is lawn restoration quotation. His folks will be doing the actual work, so there's no labor, so it's just for materials. For a total of $795.87, and that's the entire lawn area of McMahon-Wittenberry.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick, this takes care of restoring the lawn not only around the building, but in the front as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, all in favor of approving the lawn restoration quote in the amount of $795.87, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. And you got something else too, right?
I had one other thing from him, and that was an invoice from Bartholomew Company for the McMahon Wittenberry mechanical roller shades and window tinting for the children's and adult reading areas. This was based on the quote that we had gotten some time ago and we had approved, for a total of $8,897.78. The installation is
So move.
Complete. Okay, moved by Mr. White, second by Mr. Berman. Questions?
Uh,
Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, Joe. I presume this number was already in his budget numbers?
It was.
Thank you.
In the budget. Thank you for that. Other questions? All right, all in favor of approving the Bartholomew Company invoice, in the amount of $8,897.78, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. And that's it for Joe, for Glenn?
That's
Or,
it for Glenn. That's all I had for Glenn.
okay, very good. Then let's go to, our architect. We have Jeff. All yours, Jeff.
Thanks, Mark. As you all can imagine, there's a flurry of activity at the Prosser site, so I'm making myself available not only weekly now, but if there's any crises, emergencies, we're having Zoom meetings that seem to be helpful, partially to ease Jason and Johnny's stress levels, and that we're all a team. We're going to make sure that things are getting done so we can finish this project. Even issues that Dwight might bring up, we make sure that we answer him as fast as we can as well. So that's ongoing. Observation report 13 is going to be coming out soon from my last two site visits. Anthony did say that the Riley site stair was poured by Acronom, and everybody was nervous about that, but there was a couple of risers where the nosings on the edges just need to be tightened down, or there's some debris underneath there that's preventing them from tightening down. So, and then there's some finishing back to the nosing that they need to do on a few risers. So I left that as an approval based on those conditions. I think they can do it, because I think the last thing we need to do at this stage is pull out a stair. So we're moving forward with that. Last time I presented the Joseph M. Suggs Jr. reading room letters, and still waiting to hear back if we need to add Junior to the signage in the main space, and also what the glass signage inside the building should be. So as soon as I get word from Mark on that, then I can package those and get those two downs for pricing. The plaque on the outside of the building, Anthony and I have been going back and forth, just double checking, triple checking that it is indeed an exterior rated plaque, and that the fastening that they suggest is probably going to be stainless steel, and they'll probably have anchors into the brick. So I gave him an approximate location, but I want to confirm that there's no lock boxes or anything out there in that general area, because they might have to move it around the corner if there is something in the way. So that's progressing. I believe as far as FF&E, everything, I think we're still on schedule for that. No changes from Jeanette. There was an issue that came up regarding the Friends of Library fit out. And I think Whit did some research on that and found out that there was never really any intention to lay that out. The Friends of Library was going to do that in terms of our knowledge all along through the project. So there might be a proposal coming up, or some ad services from Jeanette to lay that out, to make sure that the codes work for getting out there, and the layout of the furniture is not going to conflict with anything else that we might have going on between there and the way out of the building. So I think based on that, I think that's all I have. It's just there's a lot of activity on the site that we just have to all stay focused on getting things answered as fast as possible so we can get this thing done.
Just follow up on a couple things. The questions we had on the signage for Mr. Suggs. He has been asked, and he will be getting back to us on that. So that's on hold at the moment. The other item you mentioned was Jeanette's services to assist with the layout of the Friends space. I apologize. I did get an email back from Jeanette when she was asked to participate, and she told us there would be a fee of $1,500 to do that. And I apologize, that's not in your packet, but I think it should be discussed tonight. And I see Elizabeth has her hand up, so I'll turn it over to her for that and anything else you have, Elizabeth.
Yes, thank you, Chair. In terms of the friend space, we are excited to really start analyzing that and making sure it is consistent with library business and friends business. We think it's of great import to make sure that the space is outfitted in the best way possible to ensure that we maximize usable space in terms of both storage of materials and comfort for the friends when they're in that space. Working with Jeanette will allow us to really maximize what can be done in that space. We do have some ideas for what that should look like, and I know that the friends have some ideas for what that should look like. And working with TSKP, I think, will get us all the furthest that we can on this. So I am hopeful that we can move forward with that $1,500 proposal. Working with Jeanette in the past, I know that that will allow us all the back and forth we need in terms of getting it right and making sure all those measurements are on point so that when we start the move, Colliers will have an exact roadmap of how to proceed. So I just wanted to share that. And again, we have some ideas, but we just need the green light to be able to move forward with TSKP on that.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve the added fees for that?
Chair, yeah, thank you. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve fees in the amount of $1,500 for TSKP Studios to assist with the layout and finalization of the FF&E for the Friends of the Library space in the Prosser Library building.
Second.
And we have a second from Mr. Ike, I believe. Thank you for that. Discussion. Lois?
I wonder how many hours that includes, and is it just design work or does it include any purchases?
My understanding is it's not limited in hours, but it was presented as utilizing existing furniture and equipment that we have. So there wouldn't be any additional purchases. Is that your understanding, Elizabeth?
Yes, that is my understanding. From working with Jeanette in the past, I think when they proposed this $1,500, it was to get the project done. So again, just noting on what we did with McMahon Wittenberry Library and with Prosser, it will probably be a lot of back and forth once we get the big picture idea out. And I think it will include getting it to the finish line where all parties are happy.
I'm
Jeff,
sorry.
am I understanding it correctly when I say that?
That's correct. That's correct. I'll make sure of that.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm still not getting what this encompasses. Is it an issue of placing existing furniture, or is it an issue of thinking about existing furniture and what additional finishes might be needed? What are we talking about? And if it's additional finishes, is that part of the building committee budget?
When you say finishes, you mean furniture?
Yeah, furniture.
Right now, we are envisioning using furniture and shelving that we already have. And working with Jeanette would help to ensure that all the shelving is placed correctly on the perimeter of the walls, as well as the shelving that will live on the floor space. And it will also make sure that it's ADA accessible, and passes all code requirements.
So it's not something more than what you already have, because what was done in McMahon was to not only allocate the space, but suggest what should be in that space.
Correct.
As new purchases. This is different from that.
It is a bit different. I should note that Jeanette continues to help advise on the McMahon space to make sure that it really is meeting all of our needs. And so I think if Jeanette thought that there was something we needed, she would include that in her list of recommendations, and in which case, if needed, we would bring that forward here. But I do not foresee that at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad to see Penny's is here tonight. It's good to know. My question primarily is for Penny. What furniture that you know exists, do you envision being in that space?
We
Or what would you
have,
like in that space?
we are looking primarily at shelving. We will also need some work table space. And would like to have some space for small group meetings. Our full Friends meetings will be in the conference room in Prosser, but just in terms of a very small group of the folks who work in the back room. I do want to also mention that in envisioning that space from the beginning, it was meant to allow for small sales to actually take place in that space, not the large sales that we would do in the large spaces. So that's the most important thing about having it be ADA compliant, is just so that any library patron can come in that space as they would any other and maneuver. So I'll echo what Elizabeth said. We are not anticipating at this time purchasing anything, but simply making use of other things that have been made available to us. Thank you.
Thank you. And how many carts do you have? What, 6 carts, I believe? I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't understand what the question refers to.
Carts?
Well, the carts that the Friends of the Library had that they were using.
Those we all own and we have in our own storage.
Yeah.
We have nothing that was in the back room that was installed shelving.
No, I know. I'm talking about the carts you have, which I believe there are 6. You're going to have them in that space too. Am I correct?
Yes, they would be part of displays that were set up. Yes. And they are easily movable. We're assuming at this point that any shelving that would be in there, except for perhaps some very low shelving, will have to be installed to be safe. And so it's not just putting things in the space that we can move around, but how do you design and install the heavy duty stuff? And that's where Jeanette will be very helpful with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ava, I saw you had your hand up. Are you good now?
Yeah, my concern at the time Elizabeth mentioned, excuse me, and I apologize, I'm unusually informal here, and I normally would not represent the board this way, but the cast on my arm only fits through very few things that I own to wear. My major concern had been code compliance. That's a complicated issue. These are not bookshelves like you put in your living room. You know, installation, fitting, if those things don't go correctly, they can collapse. These are safety issues. I'm sure Dwight will be checking all of them, and very particularly as he always does, to make sure that they're safe. There's a lot that goes into this. It's not, interior designer putting your shelves in a pretty place. And it's critical for the Friends. Given that the Friends donate untold numbers of hours every year in this space. They need a space that works for them. And it's probably important to remember that the Friends donate thousands and thousands of dollars to support the town every year. I think on a project that's more than $30 million, a $1,500 request is really not exorbitant. So I just wanted to add that to the consideration. Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Other questions or comments on the motion? All right. All in favor of approving $1,500 fee to TSKP? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
I'm a
Anybody?
nay.
We have one nay.
Who nade, please?
That was Marcia, I believe. Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. All right. Thank you for that. Let's see, questions for Jeff or any other business while we're in the architect's report? Mr. DiLorenzo.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Jeff, I was just wondering, did you have anything to update us on with regard to the children's garden or the canopies? Has any of that work started?
Yeah,
I know
are we
Glenn's
ready to
not-
jump, are we ready to jump into McMahon now? That we're still talking about Prosser, the Friends.
Yep.
I can jump in now, give you that
Okay.
update.
Okay.
So with McMahon, there's been a lot of activity. The canopies, I should probably call them. I'll probably touch base with them tomorrow, see how they're going with the fabrication. I know Glenn's had some bids on the concrete work, so I'll have to touch base with him soon to figure out when the foundations are going to go in. The scuppernite design I sent out to my civil engineer to work with him in the rain chain and the storm drainage for that basin that's going to receive the rainwater. So he had some comments on finalizing that. Canopy is pretty much there. So the children's garden is interesting. Our team met with John Coleman, Linda Loreno, Peter Costoli, Alexander Salamat, Robert Chartier, to discuss, both our civil architects and landscape architects, sort of what we're doing at McMahon. So the good news is that they basically said that the significant reduction in the scope from the originally approved plans, John Coleman determined the administrative review of this revised site plan would be acceptable, that no formal application for planning and zoning would be required. So that's good. Dwight Carlson, Chief Building Inspector, did make a comment that he was thinking that maybe the courtyard is considered a thing that we have to deal with egress, and that the gates would prevent that. So I challenged him on that, pulled out the code, the IBC, International Building Council, definitions of each of the terms that he was trying to think that they were referred to. And he ended up agreeing with me on my interpretation that basically every term that he was trying to refer to dealt with a courtyard or a plaza internal to a building or a rooftop where you had to pass through the building to egress out of the building. So that was probably a few days or half a week of digging in that to make sure that we had exactly what we wanted with that garden. Sometimes you got to challenge the code. Sometimes the language gets too, what's the word I want to use? Dense. And sometimes it misses the point of the experience of the garden. So we weren't about to start adding all kinds of egress issues and take out furniture and things like that if we couldn't help it, because that would destroy the whole space. So I was able to get him to buy in and agree with me on my interpretation. So that was a win-win. So we will remain with the plan that Richter Segan has proposed with the gates, the fence, everything else. So they're proceeding. The paving system that Lois had a question on, she had a concern about the children potentially eating the loose recycled tire rubbers. So I have a cut sheet here which shows that is a PERC E pave. It's an eco-friendly porous paving that's a bound condition. It's not loose, and underneath is a clean stone, creating a reservoir for holding stormwater. So this thing is very much rich in its sustainability and actually helps with the stormwater system and the mapping. Not that we need it, but it's a good thing to be green with any of the surfacing and things that we're doing in this garden. So I'm hopeful that, because Mike Segan is really worried that we're going to have to relook at changing this perky pave for his paving, but I'm hopeful Lois will be okay with this because it looks to me like I don't have the MDS sheet in front of me, but it looks like it is a bound system, so there is no way for it to fall apart so kids can chew on it. What else do I have? So the site-based plan has been updated per the town staff meeting comments. The progress site grading plan that Richter Segan, our landscape architects, have finished. A AutoCAD base was sent to our civil engineer yesterday, so he is reviewing and going to do his stormwater calculations now. So we are proceeding as fast as we can. So the goal is to get the parking layout to Glenn for pricing, which includes the additional ADA stations there that we have, and so that he can get the asphalt part of that project going. They were kind of reluctant to start breaking this apart because they wanted to make sure everything was thought about, but I hedged them to try to get Glenn whatever he needs to get this thing done. So they've accepted that, and we're proceeding. So I'm getting excited about the garden and canopies. I just can't wait. So I'm going to be making sure that there's no issues, hiccups with the structures unlimited, and make sure Glenn has everything he needs so that he can start getting pricing and get this going. And then the next step, he'll have to schedule when we can do a temporary shutdown to get the foundations in at the entryways. Any questions?
Questions for Jeff? Lois?
Jeff, could you send me the sheet that tells me what that material is?
Yes.
That'd be great. I'm sure you have my email from the.
Yes, I do. I'll send it to you.
And
And I'll see if I can get them to give me MDS or anything else they have with this. This is what I have right now. It actually has a description far away, but I'll get the
Okay.
whole package for you.
There's a lot of concern these days with the artificial turf, and I just want to make sure that this is something other than that. The second question is that I've had fun going to McMahon again to see it in operation recently. And the only thing that I think may drive the librarians crazy is that if you walk from the children's section to the adult section or back with no intention of going out the door's open. And they're very, very sensitive. It would be, I think, good for the librarians, particularly in the winter, if those doors wouldn't open quite so readily, because I'm afraid they'll be cold in the entryway and it will come in. Just the noise itself would drive me crazy, but I assume they're more occupied than I am in general.
I'm going to talk to Glenn about that because I know there's a way that you can control those sensors so that they're not reaching probably as far as somebody walking by. Let me reach. I know there's some adjustability in those.
Thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth?
Yes, Lois, I want to second about the doors. I think we're continuing to fine tune them. If Glenn was on, he'd probably say more. They are sensitive, and I know there's ways also to make it so they don't open quite as far. They open, just halfway. So we continue to try to look through that. And I just lost what my initial thought, what I was going to share was. Oh, I know what it was. Jeff, in terms of timeline, how much advance notice in terms of setting a date for the canopies do we need to give?
Well, that's something you, me, and Glenn have to work together on because he's the one that's going to lead the charge on this. He's working directly with the subs. So we're not going to do anything unless you give us approval. So we need to have a discussion. I'll reach out to Glenn. I know he's been busy and
Yes.
set that up. So we can have a strategy discussion about when he sees the concrete guys starting and when he thinks he can shut down and make sure it works with you. I mean, that's an automatic as far as I'm concerned.
Okay,
we
we
need
just
to
want
do
to make
that.
sure that when we hit go, Prosser's fully functional and open. Thank you.
Okay, more questions for Jeff, Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. Jeff, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this. Do you know of any progress in retrofitting one of the bathrooms at McMahon for the push button access?
I have sent Glenn the exact hardware set that we're using on that second floor at Prosser. He thanked me for that, so I don't know where he's at with that. I'll have to follow up with Glenn.
All right, thank you.
Okay, other questions for Jeff? Jeff, thank you for wrestling that code issue with our building
Oh
official.
boy, I was half annoyed, half angry, but I thought, okay, I'll take this challenge. So I dug deep because it didn't feel right. And I wasn't about to destroy that children's garden. So
Thank you for that. Okay, let's move on then. We have Doug from Colliers.
Okay.
Doug, you're on.
Thank you, everyone. So as far as activities out there, we get special testing. Tri-State continues to come out and they'll do compaction testing for the paving. They're continuing to test for concrete and compaction on any prerequisites for those. Masonry, as Anthony said, masonry work and storefront windows are pretty much complete, and the testing involved in that is pretty much done now. Might be one or two left, but they're essentially done with those. Reports continue to be sent off to Michael Horton Associates, our special inspector, and the building official. I've reached out to Michael Horton, to Jeremy over there, just to make sure he's ready and realizes that the project is coming near the end. And so he's starting to pull together everything that he needs for his final report. Feels that he'll have no trouble having the report ready for us by the end of the month when we need it. We've received one invoice from Michael Horton Associates, which we can discuss later, and nothing from Tri-State at this point. Commissioning, as Anthony mentioned, Van Zone continues to come out and work with the contractors on the startup and the setup of the equipment and commissioning. And then for furniture, again, we have the all the furniture is currently on track for starting to come in the 22nd. So in our time frame, we've lined the bookshelves, and a lot of the seating is going to start to come in that first couple of days. We got everybody else lined up. Moves are starting. We have McMahon is going to move on the 20th and 21st of May, and then Prosser we will be starting on June 11th. And for whatever that takes, probably a week or so to do that move over. And then we'll be working with Myers to clean out any leftover furniture at the atrium to have the place empty by the end of the month. As I mentioned, all the furniture is on order. Nobody has raised any flags about having it. Vendors have all confirmed they're still on board and ready to start installation when we planned. And that's pretty much about it. So things are falling into shape. The fish tank we've pushed off until the end of the month of June, but that's just until people are in the building full time and occupied. But everything's come together very nicely.
All right.
So, any questions?
Got a lot on your plate, but it sounds like it's under control. So
it's under control. Yes, yeah.
We'll wait for the next emergency. But
yeah.
Doug,
no more
Doug,
emergency.
it's in your capable hands. Questions for Doug? Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Chair. Doug, I just have one question. It appears we have a invoice from WB Mason.
I sent something to Joe earlier. That is not,
No?
that invoice was sent prematurely. We
Oh,
don't have
okay.
any of that furniture, and I'm not recommending it be paid. And I've contacted Mason about it. He agrees that it was sent prematurely.
Thank you.
Other questions for Doug? Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Doug, good report. I just wanted to know for McMahon Winterberry, you mentioned 5/20/21. Maybe this is really for Elizabeth and staff. Is that just materials and collection materials that are being moved to McMahon?
It's
Yes.
Whatever, with collection, and then, whatever other items you would have ready to go over to McMahon. But the
Okay,
idea
yeah, I
is
was
to
just-
break it down, so that, we can do a push to McMahon, give them time to set up that for the next few weeks. as rather than having two libraries in complete chaos with thousands of books being dropped on them. We would give them a little bit of time to set up McMahon and then move into Prosser.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially what's on the shelves in the atrium is not just Prosser materials. It's McMahon and Prosser materials. When we did the initial move for the opening of McMahon, we just did a sampling of the collection. And now the librarians specifically are are fine tuning exactly what is going to be at both locations. And we are feeling good about that. There's still a lot of work to be done, hence the late openings on Thursdays. As we gear up closer to that date, we might have to add a couple more late openings to Atrium just because we're getting to an all hands on deck situation. But it's been wonderful working with Doug, and Chris and Allison have really been very exact about the next steps. But you know, it's interesting too, because the public is going to be seeing a lot of this. And we're just gonna do our best to keep rolling forward with that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Anything else for Doug?
I just wanted to see if Chris and Allison wanted to say anything else about that we should share with the public at this time. We're gonna go into much more detail in the library board meeting next week, but is there anything that the LBC should know, Allison and Chris?
Just that it's very, very detailed work. So we're
Well,
getting through it.
We got the right people for that. I will say that.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I would just add that, as Elizabeth said, some of this is going to be happening while we're open. So books are going to be turned down. People will be seeing books going onto shelves in McMahon. We're going to try to remain open at McMahon as much as possible as this second delivery happens.
Great, thank you. Okay. All right. With that, we are ready to move on to approval of invoices. What do we have, Joe?
Sir, and we have two. Would have had more, but question had arisen about WB Mason's, hasn't been received yet. And WB Mason said it was sent prematurely, so that is being held. So the first invoice we have is from the Atrium for May's rent of $16K.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Berman, second by Mr. Ike. Questions?
One more
Patrick.
after this.
Right. So Joe, do you know when do we have to notify the folks at the Atrium that we're vacating the premises, or is that already? I know we're on a month to month.
I will be notifying them when we send this check.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Good point, thank you. Other questions? All in favor of the Atrium invoice for the month of May, $16,000, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank
Marcia
you.
has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcia? you have a
Yeah, I'm
question?
abstaining.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you for that. All right, motion passes. Let us, you got one more, right?
Okay, and the last one that I have from MHAI, which has been vetted by Colliers, by Doug, for $500 for their services from February 1 through March 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor of the MHAI invoice for $500, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. All right, so that is that. Other items from the committee? Any hands up there, Joe?
Not that I see.
All right. We are good. We are in the month of May finally.
Yep.
Mr. Berman.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Chair. Have any plans been made for different town departments to come over and look at what's not going to Prosser or McMahon to see if they want any of the furniture yet?
No.
So I guess that's after June 11th, I would assume,
Well,
in that time window.
if it's not gonna be till June, then are you gonna open it up for the public to be able to come in and buy any of it? Is there gonna be time for that? Or are we not gonna take that approach? And what are we gonna do with all the stuff that's left that's not going to Prosser and McMahon?
Yeah, there will need to be a plan to move anything unwanted somewhere before the end of June.
Right,
So-
right now, Myers, the plan is to have Myers, move or discard anything that's left over. If you have a location you would like it brought to, Myers, we can load everything that's left at the atrium and bring it over to that location. Otherwise, they would probably take it back to the yard. It's gonna end up in dumpsters or whatever they do with it.
All right, so we'll have
But
to figure.
we did talk about that. We had a meeting with Allison, Elizabeth, and Chris today. But yes, having the other town agencies come in to look at it is something that they need to do. We just don't want to do it too early because the offices and all this equipment is obviously still in use until mid-June. So we don't want people taking things too early. But
Okay, so yet to be determined.
I
Bob, you got,
I think there may have been a misunderstanding of what I was looking at. It's not a case of taking it, it's a case of coming in and seeing what there is and identifying what they might want to get at a future date. And that's why I suggested maybe the second week of May might make sense to have the department come in and start looking and seeing what it is. I recognize fully that, and they will too, that they're not gonna be taking anything till sometime in the latter half of June. But the earlier they come in and can take a look at it, the sooner, if they want to come back and look at some more stuff, they can do it. If you wait till the middle of June to do anything, then you're really bumping up against hard timeframes, and that doesn't really make sense to me.
All town departments are welcome to come and look whenever they would like, but in terms of adding it to the list of things we need to do right now, it's just not at the top. We are very busy planning for the mid-May move to McMahon and making sure that we are ready for Meyer. But please note that we will indeed make sure that anything that can be taken will be shared with other town departments as per town policy.
Thank you.
yeah, it sounds like the priority would be to establish a place to move the unwanted material. And then worst case, other town agencies can go to that location and see if they want anything. So if we can, establish some quantity so that a location can be determined, that should be in the works. Ava, I saw your hand up. You good?
Nope, Elizabeth handled it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else from committee members?
Yeah, I'll be in Europe at the next meeting on a cruise. So I'm 8 hours ahead, so I probably won't be Zoom in.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Ike.
You're gonna miss one.
Happy sailing. Anyone else? All right, so our next meeting is the 21st. And after that, we are into June. How about that? Okay. All right, members of the public, anybody wish to speak? Don't see anybody. Thank you for joining us. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Berman,
Second,
second by Mr. Ike. Thank you for that. No, that was Mr. Ike. Jesse, thank you. Okay, proper due. All right, we are adjourned.
okay, all right.
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's a stack. Wow.